I know this isn't the best setup, but I wanted to show I'm using my Pampered Chef Mandoline, and I'm going to can some mushrooms. So instead of cutting them by hand, or I do have my quick slice, I do use that quite often. I'm going to use this. And like these, some of these are smaller, so I'm just going to put them in here. And what I did is I sampled first with like 1 or 2 mushrooms just to see the size I wanted for canning. And the ones I'm slicing, they're probably going to be about like this. And I kind of pack them in here quite a bit, especially these small ones. I make sure they're clean. I get all the dirt off of them. If I don't have to, I don't like to wash them just because sometimes they tend to get mushy. And these are actually really pretty clean. There's hardly anything on them. But the first package I had did have quite a bit. Or not quite a bit, but there was more dirt. So I went ahead and I washed those. And I'll tell you what, since I started canning mushrooms, the ones in the can just don't taste the same. Okay, so that's what we do is we just do this. Slice, slice, slice. And right now I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got about 4 of these packages right here. They're they were on sale and I picked them up. They're 16 ounces. Actually, I have one more in the fridge and I might go ahead and do that many, and just because they're on sale till Tuesday, and I can go pick up some more because I just really like them for canning, and I'm a mushroom person. I'm pretty much starting to can just anything I can, leftover gravy or anything like that. Alright, let's go from here, and I know this is probably not the best setup, but this kind of spur of the moment I decided to tape this. I'm going to do a little bit of this, and then I'll probably, is what I'll do, is I will come back when I get them all ready and I start sauteing them, or maybe I'll just go straight to the canning part. We'll see. I don't know if you guys really want to watch me saute mushrooms, but I don't do them very long when I do that. Now that's just my preference to do them. I know some people have dry packed, but I kind of like to cook mine just a little bit, enough so they start to cook down. Otherwise, when you can them, if you don't do that, you're going to have a lot of extra space in your jars because it's just not going to use up. Once you cook them, they're going to shrink down then in the jar. So this way I can get more mushrooms in there like I would normally eat. But they turn out really good and they're just so handy to have. So whenever they're on sale, I try to grab them. I've got like a lot of potatoes too I need to get to busy canning too, and I've been kind of slacking off on that. Okay, as you can see, these are smaller, so I packed them in here. Sometimes the bigger ones I can only fit one. Sometimes I can just fit a couple. It just depends. I just do whatever I can. I know it's kind of noisy. I'm sorry about that, but we'll finish up this box, and then probably what I'll do is I'll just keep cutting them because you don't want to sit here and watch me cut mushrooms the whole time. And then I will come back and tape another to show. I don't know if I'll show sauteing them. I might. We'll see. But kind of the canning process that I do with them. Does that sound good? Okay. I've got just these few right here. I'll finish up so you guys can watch it one more time. And like I said, I kind of practice. Right now I have mine on it's just the flat, so they don't cut it into lines, because I can do French fries or anything with this. And then I have it about on number 3 for the wide thickness. 2.5, probably 3, right in between there. But this is just so handy. I cut so much with it. I just love it. But see, again, cuts them so nice. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and keep cutting, and then I will be back when I start sauteing or canning. We'll see. Okay, I'm ready to saute my mushrooms. I put some butter in here. It's a little hotter than I usually get it before I put the mushrooms in, but that's okay. And I used 5 of those 16-ounce mushroom containers I showed you, and this is what I ended up with after slicing them in my my Mandoline. So I'm just going to put them in here. And this one I'll be a little bit shorter on the video. Because like I said, I'll just do my steps. And I'm probably going to end up having to do a couple batches in a pan, maybe 3, because I've got so many mushrooms. But basically, I don't cook them for very long. I just do it for just enough, because to cook them down, like I said. Sorry, I think that's crooked. Like I said, so that way they don't take up as much room. Because if you don't, you're just going to end up with nothing. You'll have a full jar of non-cooked mushrooms, and by the time you can it, they'll be down to nothing. So you just go ahead and you toss in. You cook those babies up a little bit. Sometimes I throw in a little bit of olive oil too while I'm cooking it, just because. So I was just going to show you how I do that. This is a 12-inch nonstick pan, and that's about it. And I'll throw in my garlic either now when I'm sauteing them, or else I'll put my fresh garlic in each jar after I get them packed. It just depends on my mood which one I do. But I will be back. Okay, I was going to show you how they look. Now you remember that full pan, how full it was. So as you can see, they've cooked down. They're not totally cooked, but they're cooked down, and I did add some fresh garlic, and I've got butter in here, and I put a little splash of olive oil just because I like to do that. But also, if you don't want to, if you want to still pre-cook them, which I do suggest that, just for fitting more in your jars, you can, if you don't want to use butter and stuff, you can use like beef broth, and that'll work out great. But I was just going to show you this and kind of how I do my jar. Now you can use use like the little half pint jars or anything, but I like a lot of mushrooms, so I just go ahead and use mine in a pint, or I've used like I'll show you. I reused my jars from salsa, like these, and that type of thing. So you don't have to do this big of a jar, but just because what I like to eat, I go ahead. But anyway, go ahead and I'll just put some in here so I can show you this step and before I move further. Now I use my funnel, so it keeps easier to get items in, and it keeps my jars cleaner on the rim, because you're going to have to end up wiping those down before you get to the canning process. Okay, and then what I do is I have this little tamper that Pampered Chef used to have with their, and I go ahead and I smush them in there. Because like I said, I like to pack them in, and mushrooms are awesome, so, in my book. But anyway, since I use the pints and I really pack them in here, as you can see, even though I used 5 containers, it probably won't be as many mushrooms as you think. But once you heat them up, even if you have leftovers, you can pop them in the fridge or whatever. But I use these when I have a steak and I want mushrooms, or if I'm cooking something and I need mushrooms, or burgers, Swiss mushroom burgers, anything like that. So see, you get them in there, and then once you get it full, you've got it all ready to go. And you can add, see there is juice in here, I don't know if you can see that, from what was left in the pan. And you can add, if you want to put more juice in it, you're welcome to put some beef broth in it even. I wouldn't use water. To me, I like the beef broth because it's more of a closer flavor. But I just wanted to show you that before I move on with my rest of my, as you can see, I still have these and the rest of these to saute. But I just wanted to show you that part, and then I will be back later on. Okay, I got all my mushrooms done. I ended up with 6 pint jars just like this. And as you can see, I packed them in there really good, and then the remaining liquid I put in here with it. Now, the way I do mine, I'll just show you this real quick. I'm not going to make you watch all of them. Is you always need to wipe off your jars, the lid tops, before you put your lids on, because otherwise, if there's dirt there, they're not going to seal right. Now, I use just hot water. A lot of people use vinegar, but I don't use vinegar. I never have. They say it cuts the grease, but sometimes I found, depending if you use vinegar wrong or it gets in something, it can kind of sour stuff up, depending on what you're canning. So I just use a piece of paper towel and very hot water, and I just run it right along here, make sure it's all clean. Now, then is what I do. Today, with lids and rings, pretty much most of the companies, now you'd want to read it just to make sure, say that you don't have to boil them anymore like we used to back in before. But I still get mine hot. I don't boil them, but I still get them hot. And then all you need to do is you take it out, you put it on here, and then you take it and you screw it, and you do it about finger tight, but you don't want to over tighten it, because that way when there's pressure in there, because I'm using in the canner, it will help let steam stick out, come out if it needs to. And then once I'm done, then they should seal. But I just wanted to show you that. I'm going to go ahead and work on my other ones. I just wanted to show you how I did the lids.